Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we have 8 knives. Technically 9, but 8 knives I'm going to do a first impressions on now. I did get a box from my good friend Q-Ball, who sent me a big box of knives. A Pelican case. Maybe in the end of this, I'll wind up showing off the Pelican case, but there was a lot of knives, and I did do an unboxing, but the video is entirely way too long, so I'm going to break it up, and then this way I can give you guys a better first impressions than a really fast one, you know, something I am more happy about. So this is the Kizer Zip Slip, an S35VN, and I'll be honest, this is one of the nicest slip joints I've ever seen in my life. I think this thing is fantastic. I love this thing. One, it's super comfortable in the hand. 2, you can easily do it one-handed. I really like how easy it is. It is titanium and S35VN. The clip, look at this clip. This is such a perfect clip. It's not reversible, but the pull on this thing is very smooth. It does have a stop. Bam. And then it does snap open pretty good. No play side to side. No play side to side. I mean, you do have the resistance pulling back right there. So if you do, or if you are cutting with it, you can actually feel it. You stop it right there. So you're not going to have to worry about folding up on you. Good decent geometry. I love the blade shape. Kind of reminds me of a Strider a little bit. Awesome pattern. Very nice in the hand. Yeah, I really like this thing quite a bit, and I'm not a huge slip. It takes a good slip joint to really get my attention, but this is definitely one of them. There's actually a couple in this box that I really like, but yeah, I think this might possibly be the nicest slippy I've ever felt. Or at least one of the nicest, because I've held some really nice ones, so I guess I can't just make that statement like that. Next is the TwoSun TS190 S110V titanium. This is a Tepe design. Tepe makes amazing designs. This thing melts in your hand. I heard other people reviewing this knife talking about how comfortable this knife is. I mean, you can just look at it. Look at this thing. Of course, this thing is comfortable in the hand. Oh, it's a dream to hold. Now, the blade shape, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of blade shape. However, it is a very useful blade shape that seems like it would cut pretty doggone good. S110V, awesome to see that. I believe all the Tepe designs from TwoSun do have some sort of super steel. Tepe's clips work incredibly well. This one, I'm sure, works just fine. The access to the lock bar, very easy, very nice. The action on this thing is incredible. It almost feels like a React or something. Now, the one little thing is that this is a little pokey, but the detent isn't overly strong. I mean, it's crisp. Don't get me wrong, it's crisp. And this hole is a little tight to get to. You can't get your nail in there, but if you just use the meat of your finger, it's pretty easy. The thumb flick, you can do it, but it's tight. It is tight, but the reverse flick isn't too bad, and I've gotten pretty used to it. I've been flicking this one since yesterday, since I actually filmed the real unboxing. Now, you don't want to choke up. This is pokey. I don't know why they did this. This is one of the biggest downfalls to this knife. I don't know why if this was mine, I would cut this right off. I would literally go just like this. I would just cut it off right here and just go whomp, straight across. It would go from here over to here, and this would, you see what I'm saying. I would just drag this part right over to there, clip that part off, and then I would be able to hold it right here. I'd be able to do push cuts, because you can't. I mean, it literally is just poking you constantly. But nice belly. Seems like this tip would be, you know, decent for utility cuts, but man, this thing just, it feels more higher end than I guarantee the cost is. Let's put it that way. Tons of milling on the inside, lots of outside milling. Yeah, this is an incredible knife. Very well done. Next, the next one is, Oh yeah, shout out to Q Ball again. Thank you, man. I appreciate all the support on the channel, man. Thank you so much. This is called the Ontario Utilitac. It is assisted. He says he only paid $20 for this thing. Now I will say, this assist is kind of cool because it doesn't start until right there. So it's very easy to unlock and get down to there and just close. You can still slow roll it, kind of. You kind of have to stop it from assisting, but very snappy, very easy to close. You can reverse flick it. You got a recurve spear point blade. Nice little swedge on top. The ergos are pretty comfortable, even though the clip is tipped down. I'm not a huge fan of tipped down, but not a big deal. This is a peel ply that is very, very textured. I don't know if it'll come up on the camera as good as I want it to, but it is very, very textured. So that is pretty cool. Next. Okay, here is a TwoSun. Everybody was saying how nice this one is. Yeah, they're right. It's very nice. It's very comfortable in the hand. You can kind of just see that. I mean, contoured scales. Very comfortable in the hand. Now, I will admit, it seems a little awkward. Not in the hand. I just mean like looking at it. It looks awkward. We have thumb studs that are also the stop pin, I'm guessing. Is there an internal stop pin too? Yep, there's an internal stop pin plus these stop pins. I'm guessing that hits. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not positive. It looks like it hits the titanium liners because this is titanium over titanium. You can see the lock bar insert in there. So it's titanium over titanium. Very smooth. You do have this little hole for the reverse flick or the thumb studs for the thumb action, which is very satisfying. I do kind of like that. I know some people look at it like, oh man, it's just too much. Thumb studs are a hole, pick one. But in this case, it makes it where your thumb action is as good as it can get, and you can reverse flick. Now, I will admit the thumb stud does get in the way of the hole a little bit, but you kind of just brace yourself on thumb stud plus the hole and use them both. Beautiful Warncliffe blade in 14C28M. Wong design. This would be really good for utility cuts, and especially how this is a straight back design, not the blade, but the handle. You can really, get a good grip for those utility cuts and push cuts. Yeah, pretty nice. Access to the lock bar, not bad because it's got a nice big opening, so not too bad. Very, very smooth. Awesome. And it's got a cool little pattern on it. Lots of titanium, and it does have some good weight to it. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, that's the TwoSun TS316. What an idiot. The TwoSun TS316. Next. Oh, we got possibly the most dangerous knife I've had on the channel coming up. But next, we have the Real Steel Metamorph G5. Now, I've had the aluminum version of this. This is the G10 version. I've never tried the G10 version, but I like it. I really love the Metamorph. The Metamorph is just, one, the front flipping action is incredible. That's one thing. Number two, 14C28N. Love that. Number three, it rides on needle bearings, or at least mine did, my aluminum version. So I'm guessing this one does too. I know they do have regular ceramic ball bearing versions, the smaller versions, but this is the full size version. Really good ergos for a thin, compact, slim knife. But this thing is super slicey. The blade, it gets down to a very thin edge, and it cuts like a champ. This thing is such a useful blade shape, such a great cutter. The access to the lock bar is really good. Very smooth on the drop. The flipping action is really good for a front flipper. The clip works really good. There's just so many good things about this knife. I almost bought a titanium version because I like the Metamorph so much. Next, we got a couple fixed blades. Both of them are really, really cool. I like both of these quite a bit, and I'll tell you why. So they are the crkt 2831 and the 2832. I think this is the mossback hunter and then this one is the bird and trout or something. Now this thing is small and compact. It's like a paring knife. Very well done geometry. It does have a hollow grind. I love this blade shape. Nice and compact and thin. This thing would be a mega cutter. I mean, it'd be really good at food prep type things. Now this one, the handle sways down like this, so it's almost like a pistol grip, and it does have a nice hollow grind. The jimping locks you in really good. This is so comfortable. I can't even explain how comfortable this is. And I feel like it wants to cut. Like, it's like I'm aiming at things I want to cut. And even in like this grip, because of the way it tapers down, watch it in my hand. See how it just nestles right in my hand, and then you have these little spots right there to really pull back into your hand. See how I'm like pulling back in my hand? So it really locks you in, man. You can get such a good grip. These are so nice. I really like these a lot. Oh yeah, so this one's the mossback. Then this one is the mossback also. Okay, so they're both mossbacks. I'm guessing this is the bird and trout, and then this one was the hunter. Is that what it was? Yeah, the hunter. So both of these are very, very nice. I would love to have this as a paring knife. This thing is so, so light. Let's get to the next one. Okay, so what do we have? Two more. So we have the TwoSun TS190, the Cobra. I almost bought this so many times because just looking at it, I can tell that it was good quality. And oh my goodness, is it? This thing is insane good quality. My one thing is I'm not a big fan of this blade shape. However, take the blade shape out of it. Just if this is your style blade shape where you really like a lot of belly, then holy cow, you should be getting this. The access to the lock bar is perfect. You have plenty of access. The drop is ridiculous. It usually doesn't have a light detent, but I guess I'm letting it do that. You can get past the detent very easy. I was just fumbling it, but the drop is incredibly smooth. The action, really, really good. The detent is well tuned, and it's so refined all the way around. I mean, it feels expensive. It feels like a high-end knife. The satin finish is really nice on it. Now, this one is an M390. Amazing geometry. This thing is going to be a slicing beast. All this belly right here. So for regular slicing, man, the ergos and the leverage you can get down into your cuts are going to be phenomenal. The tip is the biggest thing. You know, it's not going to be easy to get to the tip and do any type of utility cuts. But aside from that, like if you're skinning something or cutting cardboard or cutting straps or something like that, this thing is amazing. This thing is so well done. Lots of milling on the inside. The clip looks like it works really good. The action is stupid. It's so good. This thing is really, really nice. Let me get to the next one before I drool. The next one, this is the most dangerous knife I think I've possibly had on the channel, at least in a long time, and it is an integral, the TS205. This is a TwoSun. Now you're probably looking at it saying, what's so dangerous about this knife, right? What's so dangerous about the TwoSun TS205? Well, let me show you. Bow. What in the world were they thinking? What in the world were they thinking? I'm touching the edge. Like, not a little bit, a lot of it. It is exposed as you could get. If I slipped off this blade and I went like that, oh yeah, you're cutting yourself for sure. If it's in your pocket and you, maybe that's why it's the rattlesnake. Well, it's the designer is the rattlesnake. It's M390. Integral, so lots of great materials. The clip looks like it might work it looks like it works good. The build quality is really good, but I will say this, it does kind of seem like one of their older designs. I'll get into that in a second, but it's the rattlesnake design, so Rattlesnake designs it, and maybe they like to put something on the knife that bites you, and that's why, because if this was in your pocket and you have something at the bottom of your pocket and you go to slip your hand down in there, oh boy, are you cutting yourself. It doesn't even make sense. It has to be like on purpose. I mean, obviously it's on purpose, but I mean, like, this is like an intentional thing. Like, listen, we want to make a knife that's guaranteed to cut you. No matter what, we want a guaranteed cut you knife. Now, why do I say that this thing reminds me of one of their older designs? A lot to do with this blade, and the handle. So, yes, it's well done. It's very, very well done. The action's really good. The access to the lock bar is really good. The drop is nice and smooth. Very, very smooth. That was my fault. The detent is very, very nice. Well, it's okay. It's a little light, but it still works really good. Good thing they don't have a strong detent because you don't want to skip off of it. But it's still an okay detent, good detent. But the geometry is on the thicker side. That's one thing. So it does have thicker geometry, kind of like some of their older TwoSuns. And there's a lot of sharp corners. So, you know, that kind of reminds me of some of their older designs. You know, a lot of their newer designs are more refined, like this one. And a lot of their older designs were kind of like this. Lots of, and I'm not saying they don't still do knives like this. Of course they do. Obviously, we're looking at it. But this is the knife designer's designs. This is what they wanted, you know, and then TwoSun just makes it. But you can see like all the lines, the holes, the sharp corners, and even like on the lock bar, it's all squared off. Those little details reminds me a lot of some of their older designs. You know, when I think of TwoSun now, I think of the round, you know, like softer edges and just really, really well done. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But there you guys go. This one is the TS220, right? No, sorry, 205. I'm sorry. Did I say 220 in the beginning? I apologize if I did. The TwoSun TS205, the rattlesnake design, M390 and titanium, and it is an integral, one solid piece of titanium. Pretty incredible. Look at that. Look at that. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Cue ball. I appreciate you, brother. Peace.